Good morning, my friends, or good day, dependent on where you are. A number of weeks ago, I announced that I'd be coming to you on YouTube on Mr. Robinson's Corner. Due to certain complications, technology-wise, process got delayed because I really wanted a situation in which we could interact back and forth with each other. But right now on YouTube, that doesn't exist. So after we make our presentation, you can write your comments on YouTube. There's a facility for it. Or you can even write your comments on Facebook, on my page. I promise, although I don't go on it a lot, I'll make it my duty to go on it now. But more seriously, let's get to the task at hand. The subject today, again, is why is it that companies are allowed to use your credit score to determine whether or not you're qualified for a job? Let's brainstorm for a moment. What does your credit score have to do with your character? What does your credit score have to do with your honesty? What does your credit score have to do with your integrity? What does your credit score has to do with your mental acuity? Absolutely nothing. And yet, the middle class and the poor are constantly being disadvantaged because in most states, companies are allowed to use your credit score to determine whether or not they're going to employ you. In fact, I even found out that in some cases, some firms use it to determine whether or not you'll be promoted. And in more extreme cases, I have found out that some firms can use it to terminate you. Now, this is madness. Absolute madness. So I went and I dug, and I did a lot more research. And I remember one of the things I said was that New York was not one of the states. In fact, I said New York was one of the states that used your credit score to deny you an opportunity. But au contraire, I think it was in 2015, New York made a filing, which was approved, that employers cannot use your credit score to determine whether you're employable or not. But yet, many, numerous employers in New York, state and city, still use it to determine your future. And it has also been proven that New York has one of the strongest rules against companies using your credit score to determine your employment. So why do they do it? Why are they allowed to do it? It's simple. It's not being enforced. It's difficult at best to enforce, but it is enforceable. The data is there. The technology is there. I'm sure with as many unemployed people as there are numerous people that could be employed to enforce this. Let me lay out a simple idea. They have all these companies that do background checks. If New York had a task force that would go in and do examinations of the background checks that they use for New York-based companies to determine whether someone was employable or not, if they found that that person's credit score was on that background check, that should be a violation. And they should be severely fined, dependent on the frequency and the number of situations. And I guarantee you, that there are numerous instances in which people are being disadvantaged because companies are illegally using your credit score in New York to determine whether or not you're employable. It's not rocket science. You're either good or you're bad. You're either capable or you're incapable. You either have the qualifications to do the job or you don't. But if you are the very best candidate, why on earth should you be denied the opportunity to get that position? I wonder. Makes no sense to me. So you know what we need to do? You, me, all my Facebook friends, all the people who in turn will go and look at this on YouTube. Let's reach out. Let's start an outreach to our politicians. Find out even if they know that it's against the law in New York. Chances are, most of them won't. And if they do know, then we can approach them with the idea of enforcement. We can't just allow these guys to come in and be fat and happy every day and do nothing, or do the things that are not difficult. This is difficult. But what I tell you, every single day, millions of people are affected by this. Millions. So can you imagine having lost your job due to illness, due to poor performance, or whatever it may be? And yet, the next step is that you're illegally kept from a job for which you are qualified. My friends, I need your input. I need for you to get back to me via comments on YouTube or via comments on Facebook as to what your ideas are regarding how we should approach this. And we will communicate back and forth until we come to a consensus regarding how to approach this. Because we need it to be fixed. And it needs to be fixed very quickly. Very, very quickly. I'm going to leave you shortly, simply because I hate looking at those talking heads who spend 30, 40, 45, 50 minutes repeating the same things. And I usually turn it off and go away. So I'm simply saying to you, this is the message. There are companies in New York City that are violating the law by using people's credit scores to deny them employment. The ball is now in our hands, my hands, your hands. And I don't even live in New York. I live in New Jersey. So why am I doing this? Because you see, in this lifetime, I've always felt that I have an obligation to make a change, a positive change in people's lives. And if I can make a positive change in even one person's life, then I would have fulfilled at least some of the things that I was placed on this earth to do. We're going to have some other topics that are just sensational, mind-blowing. Because some of the things that happen here in this beautiful America, you will not believe. But as of now, I am Richard Robinson, former senior vice president of the American Stock Exchange. Saying to you, you do your part, and I'll do my part. And until you hear from me next week, I will see you, because I will be putting out one episode of Mr. Robinson's Corner every week. I will aspire to put them out on Sundays so that you have time to look at it, digest it, discuss it with your family and friends, and then get back to me so we can engage in dialogue. Have a wonderful day. America loves you. So do I.